Esse é meu primeiro drink. Calma. Meu nome é Carlos Prates, esse aqui é meu segundo drink. Meu nome é Carlos Prates, esse é meu terceiro drink.
Ian Gary's eating his disgusting little pea soup. He's eating his Brussels sprout spinach pea soup.
Meu nome é Carlos Prates, esse aqui é meu quarto drink. Quarto ou quinto?
The summary of Gary versus Prates is Machado Gary being underrated and Carlos Prates unproven. And it's so funny how Gary is still kind of underrated even after he fought Shavkat Rakhmonov. People came out and started saying, man, Shavkat looked human, he's not that dominant, this, that. They expected it to be like a clear win for Shavkat, which was ridiculous to me. When I talked about that fight, I literally said it's 50-50 skill for skill. These guys match up pretty nicely. Shavkat, the analysis that Shavkat didn't look human, this and that, is totally wrong. The correct analysis is Ian Gary is actually that guy. Okay, you can call Ian Gary a soy boy, you know, a cuck, whatever, the whole situation with his wife, you know, taking his which is ridiculous, but taking his wife's ex-husband's last name to help out his kid, whatever, that crazy ass story, the whole situation. But one thing you can't call Ian Gary is a duck. Okay, Ian Gary, and I'm not even a fan of Ian Gary, I never liked him, but the man keeps proving over and over again that he's actually a badass. All right, the guy took a last-minute fight with the boogeyman of the division, Shavkat Rakhmonov, which he did not need to. He could have just stayed and fought Joaquin Buckley, which is a tough fight for him as well. But come on, pick Shavkat last minute, like fuck it, risk his undefeated record, which a lot of fighters value. Took the fight. Of course he lost, but he showed he's that guy. Now again takes a last-minute fight against Carlos Prates, because Prates was supposed to fight Geoff Neal. Geoff Neal got injured, and this fight was only set up a few weeks ago, right? And Gary took that fight. Like, bro, just take a look at the rankings in the welterweight division. Like, if Gary said no to this fight, I don't think anybody could even call him a duck, because if you look at how far away these guys are, bro, like, take a look at this right here. So we have of course Belal is the champion, Ian Gary number 7 on the rankings, Carlos Prates number 13 on the rankings. He could have said no easily and would have just moved on, and you know, that would be it. Ain't nothing else to talk about. But of course the fight is set. Now the first thing you have to, this fight is about several factors. You have to consider several things in this fight. And it's number 1, their fight style, their fight record, and their lifestyle. Okay? And when I'm talking about their lifestyle, it's the way they carry themselves as a fighter. Ian Gary, like I said, the guy is a vegan. All right?
It's pathetic. Conor McGregor and Ian Gary's wife kicking it, and of course Conor's eating a big steak, ribeye steak with butter based meal. Ian Gary's eating his disgusting little pea soup. He's eating his Brussels sprout spinach pea soup with his, you know, soy boy brown bread. Brown bread's actually pretty cool and all that. Brown bread's kind of base.
And yeah, there can be some healthy arguments to be a vegan. You know, shout out to the vegans out there. In my opinion, it's a tough thing to do, but it's not the healthiest lifestyle of a fighter. Let's be real. Boom! Headshot! Right? I don't think so. Carlos Prates, on the other hand, badass fighter, all this, but this man smokes and drinks. Boom! Headshot! Like crazy.
Conventional lifestyle choices, particularly his smoking habit. He has been smoking since the age of 15 and currently consumes between 8 to 10 cigarettes daily, even on fight days.
All right, and at an excessive amounts. So that's what I'm talking about when we talk about their lifestyle, because it's easy to say. I've seen people say, man, Prates cardio, it hasn't been tested, which is fair. It's fair to say Carlos Prates cardio hasn't been tested. And how long has Prates been in the UFC? Not too long. If we're comparing their experience, of course, Ian Gary has faced more elite fighters in the UFC. He's literally faced Shavkat Rakhmonov. He doesn't get more elite than that, and he performed very well. Prates' biggest challenge has been Neil Magny, Gary versus MVP. That showed me that Gary actually has very good fight IQ, because even though he was bragging about how he wasn't gonna shoot, it's gonna be a striking fight, he's not gonna commit to shooting anything. Once he realized, bro, MVP is not someone to stand with, my guy had to shit for the takedown. He had no choice. But that is fight IQ. It's one thing to talk about not shooting and all that shit. Ilia Topuria did the same thing against Max Holloway. He said he wasn't going to shoot for a takedown or anything, but once he saw Max was giving a little problem on the feet, he went for a takedown. I don't think it's being a bitch. I think it's being smart. Okay, it can be both. It can be both. But so when we talk about that, we cross out their lifestyle. In my opinion, Prates cardio is going to be absolutely tested in this fight.
Esse aqui é o sexto drink que eu acho.
If Prates doesn't knock Gary out early in like round 1 or round 2, it's gonna be a long night. It's gonna be a long night, because that's the way he wins his fight, right? Walk off KOs, finishes his opponents. He always looks good. But bro, Ian Gary has the range, bro. He's a technical striker. He knows how to keep his distance. He knows when to switch between grappling and freaking striking. He knows how to pick his shots. He knows how to pace himself. Gary has good cardio. He's very good. And honestly, I've underrated Ian Gary for a long time. Gary had to win me over, and it was the fight against Shavkat that showed me, okay, this guy is really good. Like, he's really good, but he's still underrated. On the other hand, Carlos Prates, yeah, it's fair to say he hasn't been in the UFC as long as Ian Gary. Look at Ian Gary's record. 16 fights in total, but his only loss is to Shavkat. That's nothing to be shy of, okay? That's a fair loss right there. Dominant wins, dominant decisions. He only has 2 finishes, okay? So it's fair to say Ian Gary is the type of fighter who does what he needs to do to win a fight. He's not gonna go crazy. He's not gonna go wild and do anything unnecessary to win a fight. Now, of course, he's been in the UFC since 2021, way longer than when Prates came in, right? He's fought elite fighters: Geoff Neal, Neil Magny, MVP, Shavkat. Those are 4 very important names to have on your fight resume. But I don't think it's fair to say Ian Gary is more experienced than Carlos Prates. Take a look at Carlos Prates' record. This man has a total of 27 fights, bro. 6 losses, of course, 21 wins. He has more fights than Ian Gary. He's been fighting longer than Ian Gary. Granted, he only came into the UFC in 2023, but still, the man is an experienced fighter. And we all know the UFC is the top of the top, okay? We can't even compare any other organization. But at the same time, it does not take away his wins and his record, okay? Let's see. Now, his most elite win is Neil Magny. That is it. But the most important factor when it comes to Carlos Prates' record is the fact that this man has been knocking everybody out since 2021.
Boom! Headshot!
Augusto, esse aqui já é o 8º, 7º já.
And when you combine all these facts, bro, this fight is a 50-50 fight. Okay, I know people like to say, oh man, it's not even close, Prates by knockout. Ian Gary is gonna grapple, but I do think Ian Gary is smart enough to know that he does need to instill the grappling a lot in this fight. I feel like Carlos Prates grappling hasn't been tested yet in the UFC, so there's a lot of questions to be answered there. A lot of questions. Their reach. Let's see. Carlos Prates is 6'1" in height, and Gary is 6'3", so they are not far off at all. Okay. So yeah, I think it's a 50-50 fight, man. This is the sum up right here. Either Prates finishes Gary early, or Gary is just gonna win by a decisive decision. And Gary knows how to stink a fight up if he needs to.
Boom! Headshot!
Sometimes, as an elite fighter, to win a fight, you do gotta stink a fight up, okay? But like I said, technical striker, and Prates is a very technical striker as well. He doesn't just knock out his opponents. He knows when to throw those powerful jabs, hooks. I mean, look at the way he knocked out Neil Magny. He barely touched him, but he knew the angle to go from to take him out. And that's how he always approaches his fights. So if he's able to sneak in those shots on Gary, bro, he can take him out. He can. But bro, Gary is so good at keeping his distance, man. His defense is top notch. He knows how to defend those type of shots. And again, the grappling is going to play a big factor. Talking about their fight skills, combining their lifestyle, their mindset, Gary has shown that he's not scared of anybody. He's the definition of wherever, however, whenever he's going to take the fight. It shows the confidence, which is really important. And at the same time, even though the fighting nerds have this massive hype right now, beating everybody dominantly, showing how impressive they are, this is by far the highest caliber of fighter that Prates is going to face. So this fight is going to answer if Prates is truly that guy who could rise to the top. So it's a big test. It's a big test. But I think Gary has been through he's been through tougher opponents, in my opinion, stylistically. So I think he's gonna win by a decision, man. I think Gary is going to edge it out. He's going to do exactly what he needs to do. He will make it a grappling heavy fight. It's going to be similar to Gary versus MVP. If Ian Gary can realize he can't stand and trade with MVP in a fight, what makes you think he's going to take that risk against someone who's been knocking everybody out since 2021? He's not going to do that. He's too smart to do that. So yeah, for now I'm going with Gary, man. But like I said, Prates could knock him out anytime. All he needs to do is land clean. Especially if he lands in the temple of Gary, bro, he's gonna put him out. But yeah, that's what I think for now.